Hey, you guys. Welcome into the next episode of the Football Show with No Name. I'm one of the hosts, Mr. Clint Clintonian, or you can just call me the champ, or you can look up the square above me and do the same thing with Mr. Ian here. We got Lauren in the house as always, and Mr. Big Ferg looking as clear as ever, sir. And Ian's the one that's grainy today.
Yeah. Can I ask a question really quick of Danye? Can you see us when the countdown happens? Because I'm always dancing. I've always wanted to know if you can't see it. Okay.
Please.
I'm always like dancing. Okay.
So this
dancing like Kirk Cousins.
This
yeah.
We need Lauren with some ice on. So this episode is going to be sponsored by Bourbon because we're going to be talking about trades in fantasy football, and I need some help. And this is going to provide some of that. So anyway, let's talk about a little bit about football, and I don't know if we can start anywhere else but what Ferg wants to get on his soapbox about today. I mean, you saw Ian last week go off about Dan Snyder, and now Ferg has a topic that he would like to talk about, and
we ain't even taken any drinks yet.
Yeah, so
let's come back to that after we took like 2-3 drinks.
You want to come back to that, sir? Okay.
Yeah, I think 2 or 3 drinks. Let's come back to that.
We'll come back to that. So let's talk some real football. So there was an interesting week of football. Now, I want to preface this by saying, before the show started, we were talking a little bit about what Stefania Bell said about Deshaun Jackson, which we can repeat that if you guys want to. But what she also said is that historically, on weeks where the time falls back, there's more injuries, there's less scoring, and there is worse decisions made, or so she says. So the more injuries, I think, kind of happened. Like there was a lot going on in football this week. Lauren, do you want to start talking about your beloved Packers? Do you want to start?
I mean, I'll just tell you right now, my winner of the week is the Detroit defense. My ass of the week is Mr. Aaron Rodgers with 3 interceptions and 1 touchdown. And watching that team, it was him. It was him.
3 interceptions in the red zone. 2 of them were tipped, if I'm not mistaken, right?
The ironic thing is that didn't Aaron Rodgers say like 3 weeks ago, like if you're not playing well, you shouldn't be playing.
You shouldn't be playing.
Yeah.
At what point in time do we see Jordan Love? This is Aaron Rodgers' own prophetic words.
Well, how did they do that with the contract though? So they've paid this dick a lot of money. Because I was reading something today about, or yesterday about the state. I was like, please don't put that man in New Orleans. But like, what happens with his Can they bench him and put like what can they do?
I mean, do shit. They're gonna pay him.
So they have to pay. What are the chances they do sit him?
0.
Never.
0. You think?
0.
So let me ask you a question.
Too much money.
Would you have if all of this shit came out about Brett Favre back in the day? Would you be saying the same? If you said the same thing about Brett Favre, what would your answer be?
I didn't like Brett Favre as soon as he left as soon as he unretired the first time.
Just saying, like if he was on the Packers and he was an asshole, you found out that he was an asshole undercover.
Now, back then in the 90s.
Back then in the 90s.
Oh, I still wouldn't.
And he was playing this bad at this moment, which he had his moments, right? He's one of the all-time leaders in touchdowns, and he's also the all-time leader in interceptions, if I'm not mistaken, right?
I would still say that about him. I mean,
right. But would you say that they should bench him? Like, would you think that they should bench him?
Yeah, I didn't. I thought no, they didn't. They just let him go.
Yeah.
Yeah, no.
He went to the Vikings or the Jets, one of the two.
The Jets first.
He went Jets, and then he went
traded
Vikings.
to the Jets. Yeah, he was traded to the Jets, and then he was a free agent.
And I think he was part of Bountygate, actually, when he was with the Vikings.
Yeah, probably.
Favre could have told you he stole that welfare money back in '97, and they still wouldn't have benched him. It was never going to happen. Have you seen Jordan Love? Have you ever watched Jordan Love play? He is trash. There's no fucking way in hell he's ever going to see the field in a pro setting ever.
Segue into a question I've been waiting to ask you about benching people. We talk about PJ Walker. What happened that Baker came rise from the dead?
It was 42 to 7.
Is he going to take over?
It was 42
to 7.
Negative 1.06 points.
Well, see, did you guys
PJ
hear?
started.
He is the starter.
Is he?
Yeah, he
This
was
week.
the starter. Yeah,
This
It's Thursday night.
he was named the starter, and so I mean they're gonna ride it, and it's gonna
At what
be
point in
interesting.
time do you go to Darnold though?
Well, they
Uh,
actually said
Darnold just got off the list. He
Which-
just got off the
yeah.
list to come. So
I wouldn't go
He's
with
going to
Sam
play.
over anybody. I'd throw Ferg in there before.
I mean, I just don't
Trash.
understand. At this
They're
point,
all trash.
but, I mean, I guess it can't get worse, so you might as well just
Yeah,
have like a
no.
practice squad for the rest of
I
the
go
year.
back to PJ.
Yeah, I mean
That's
he's more electric than
Over
anybody.
Baker after last week?
Dude,
I'll go
have you guys seen what Baker Mayfield wears when he goes out there? It's like he's like
I thought this was like a chick thing that you were going down.
this
I
big.
thought, was he talking about a girdle or something? Was he
He's like
pantyhose?
this big Baker in his chest when he's before the game, and then when they put all of his shit on, he's like
Because-
this Baker. He walks out there like this, like he can't put his fucking arms down.
Well, he's a little bitch, so you need to get
Yeah.
padded up before you get hit.
He's Johnny Manziel.
And PJ Walker is so much more athletic, and he's got a much better arm.
Yeah, no, I mean,
Yeah,
he looked at that one, but it was just, I guess, sorry, my dog is having a
We hear
field day.
Lucan, yeah.
it's okay.
She's trying to bury a bone under my feet right now.
We like
So I guess it was just Baker coming out and like immediately gets 2 touchdowns. That's why I was like, are they
It
going
was
It was also like
42 to
nothing.
nothing.
But they weren't getting
Yeah.
any touchdown. Like it
Hold
was
on.
like something.
Also,
They were in total prevent. Just throw it
They were
over.
in
The game's
prevent.
over.
When the second string in the game.
well, hold on.
Yeah, it was
also, you got to think they game plan for one, right? So it's just like when Zeke is in the game and everybody's game plan. The defense game plans for Zeke, and then Zeke gets hurt. Tony Pollard comes in and runs for 150 yards. Right? They didn't game plan for what Tony Pollard did, right? Like in this sense, they didn't
Yeah.
game for Baker, right? So there's a lot of that aspect in it as well. I do want to talk about something though, because we have done nothing but bash him. Well, I'll say Lauren's been the basher more than anything.
Oh, Aaron Rodgers?
No.
Oh.
I want to change it to the other old man and go to
Um,
Brady. And
Yeah.
it was only 16-13. The defense held, and Brady and the offense did enough. But what
He did. He looked like
he led a last 2-minute drive,
he did his thing.
win the game, just like Brady has done for
Yeah.
2 fucking
He
years.
looked like Tom Brady. Like that when it like
I-
normally if there's 2 minutes left in a game, like I never worried about because I'm actually more angry with him because he left the Patriots. But watching those games, you're like 2 minutes to go and you're down. You're like, whatever, we got it.
No,
And you could just like you could ride on top. You didn't have to swing twice.
Yeah.
You got it every time. And then
Well,
I felt good about that. I was like, there you go, man. There you go.
one of the
Fuck
reasons
that old man.
he said he came back was to beat the Rams.
That's fair.
So I
Wow,
don't
the Rams
know
are trash.
Yeah.
The bar is
I
low.
don't know that Tom
The
Brady.
bar is set low.
I don't know that Tom Brady won that game as much as the Rams offense lost it.
No,
Like, you had
That
the
part.
ball with a minute.
That
That's
2 minute
hard.
drill.
hold on though. Right, Lauren, you and me are on the same page here.
Yeah.
He got the ball with a minute left, 54
Yeah,
seconds.
he came
something
and
like
it was
that.
just like
He should have never gotten the ball. The Rams have to be able. The Rams have to be able to run the ball and get 10 yards,
Run
or
the ball.
throw a pass to somebody not named Cup once every
Hey,
13
somebody.
plays and
Sean
get
McVay
one first down.
Sean McVay and the Los Angeles Rams have the same methodology as you do, sir, and that is 0 RB. Right? They're going straight.
Well, I'm not zero RB.
So they're going straight.
Lauren is the 0 RB queen.
0. Oh,
Lawrence is the RB queen.
Lauren 0
Lauren,
RB.
0 RB
So,
queen.
like, they're just going all fucking in on their wide receivers. And did you see that bomb?
But they
throw?
have one wide receiver.
They
They
got
don't throw it
Matthew
to anybody
Stafford.
else.
I know. Look,
It's
y'all ain't
Stafford
gotta-
stuff.
All right, so now
Stafford's trash.
let's move on to a couple of other really prevalent games that happened. I want to hold off on the Josh Allen situation in the Bills for a few minutes, and let's talk about Ferg's voice. Okay, so Ferg's Dolphins, as you see that all the shit he's wearing, is that a Ricky Williams jersey you have on?
Yeah.
This is actually for Lauren. This is a Jarvis Landry.
It's Landry jersey.
Yeah.
Okay, all right, so
Or it's
Dolphins-
Ricky Williams because thank you, Maryland, for legalizing marijuana.
Ooh, yay. All right. So the Dolphins and the Bears got into a shootout because the Dolphins can't stop anybody.
Can't stop shit.
But you would think, like, and you guys probably already know this because you guys are fantasy like freaks like me. But Justin Fields is the QB7.
He looked good.
He's QB1 over the past 4 weeks.
Right. So do you know on the year he's QB7? Over the past 4 weeks he's QB2. Right. So did you know?
Rushing yards.
Did y'all know that the 178 rushing yards is the most by a QB
most ever.
Not.
Can I tell you who?
It's the second most because Colin went for 181 in that playoff game.
That's what I'm saying. The regular season.
Right? Yeah.
Regular season. I'll tell you right now who Justin Fields in 2022 is. In 2022, Justin Fields is Jalen Hurts in 2021. They are the same player, and that's not a black thing at all. That's a direct comparison on what their skill sets are and what their coaches are finally figuring out that they can't plug this player into their system. They've got to build a system around this player. And that's what they've done with Fields, and that's what they've done with Hurts. Hurts is going to be like drafted right after Allen and Mahomes next year in fantasy drafts. Justin Fields should be like a top 5.
So here's the thing about Justin Fields. The floor on his passing game is lower than any of the QBs that you could draft in the top 5, right? So the dude passed for 3 touchdowns last week, but it was 123 yards, if I'm not mistaken.
I don't know if the floor on his passing game is wrong or if their passing scheme is just wrong because that dude that was at Ohio State didn't just disappear. He didn't just disappear when he got to the league.
They have $114 million in cap space free next year. They can go out and get any running back, any wide receiver, any offensive, and it is a boom year for running backs. David Montgomery is out the door.
Oh, yeah.
They can get any wide receivers they want, just like the Eagles did when they got A.J. Brown. You put a quality wide receiver next to, I think Cole Kmet is underrated. Darnell Mooney should easily be a wide receiver too. You put a stud next to Mooney with Fields' mobility, he's top 5.
So here we go. So real quick, while you guys were talking, I pulled up the free agent list for wide receivers for next year, and it starts with Nelson Aguilar. All right, so can we move away from that one and go to running backs and see maybe what's happening there? Because it is not Nelson Aguilar, right?
But
keep in mind that
it's just going to be like every year though. Like you didn't know A.J. Brown wanted out till A.J. Brown wanted out. Every year is going to be the same.
Was not a free agent. He was a trade.
What I'm saying.
You can trade.
But if you got $121 million, you can make things work. You can take disgruntled guys from over here, bring them over here. And Philly has already showed you going after Kamara. They don't give a fuck about them draft picks. So they're going to be in it again. The money going to talk. Somebody's going to say, I want out.
Look, and the Bears have plenty of money. And let me tell you who the RB free agent list starts with. His name is Saquon.
Yeah.
And under that is Kareem Hunt, then Rashad Penny, then Jamal Williams, then Josh Jacobs, then Melvin Gordon, and then it gets
Saquon's a free
Miles Sanders is in there. David Montgomery is in there. There's a lot.
Yeah. So, but man, it's man, I don't know. Wide receiver is tough, man, and they have a lot of money sunk into Darnell Mooney.
But they're also going to have a high draft pick at this rate, so. Any one of the Ohio State kids, any one of them, any one of the Bama kids, you can plug and play any one of them at wide receiver next year. Yeah. Any one of them LSU kids, or you can go after what's the other kid from LSU, Boot. He kind of fell off the radar here during the season, but before the season he was on the Biletnikoff watch list. So there are guys out there. If you got 121 million, you can make it work.
All right, so let's change the focus of this talk to the Dolphins. And how unstoppable their offense is. They can't stop anybody. but their offense is unstoppable. So Tyreek went for 7 for 143 and a touch. Jalen Waddle 5 for 85 and a touch. And you're talking about the wide receiver 2 and 7 on the year.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
right?
It's ridiculous.
And on the same offense. And Tua has to be top 5 quarterback. I haven't looked at that, but he has to be top 5 quarterback on the year because every game it's 343, 383, 360, something like that. And then he throws up a 400-yard game every once in a while. But this, like, their offense is unstoppable. Now that they have Jeff Wilson, he had 90, right?
91, I believe. 91.
Yeah, and Mostert. So I think they had like 160 yards rushing between the two of them or something like that.
When do they play the Bills again?
Last game of the season.
Yeah.
No, wait, that's the Jets.
Yep.
It's right. It's at the very end.
I'm taking the Finns over the Bills in Buffalo.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll revisit that one.
Yeah. So it was a it was a fun game to watch.
Is this a good time to kind of segue into like our top 5 teams?
Yes.
Hold on. Let's talk about something real quick. Let's talk about we have to give some kudos to a couple of teams. So first we have to go to the Chiefs, right? So the Chiefs came through with the Titans. They haven't beat them in the regular season in how many years? And then Patrick Mahomes goes out there and throws for 464, but he threw the ball 68 times. 68 times, right? And combined,
no running game.
No running game.
No running game.
Yeah, no running game at all. No running game at all. But Juju has like what 4 games in a row where he's like over 100 yards, something like that.
Yeah, he's like plus 16 points in the last 4 games.
Yeah, dude's unbelievable so far. All right, so skim over that game real quick to go to the one that we really need to talk about. JETS.
That was awesome.
I want to finish that, I'm sure. But whoa, who saw that coming? Anybody?
The Jets are for real.
Yeah,
Jets are legit.
Right. So the best play of the year that I've seen defensively in the NFL came on the last play of that ball game. Right. So Sauce Gardner.
Josh Allen hurt his arm.
Sauce Gardner guarding Gabe Davis in a go.
Oh, that was nice.
In a go route. So this dude, I've never Sauce is for real, you guys. Like, this dude's for real. I'm not a Jets fan.
He's the rookie of the year.
But this dude is for real. So he ran with Gabe Davis 60 yards, 70 yards, you guys, something like that. He had his hand like this on his back, and all he was doing was doing like this in his face. That's all he was doing.
Sauce is legit, but if you actually watch the play, Allen hit Gabe Davis right between the 1 and the 3. The ball bounced off the middle of his NFL symbol. No hand touched that ball. He should have caught that ball. He should have caught it.
So hear me. I feel you, and I agree with you. But what I'm saying is because Sauce was doing this, you have to catch it in between that. It's like hitting the ball in the clown's mouth at putt-putt, bro.
When it hits you in the chest, you got to catch it. You just got to catch it.
100% agree with you. 100% agree with you. However, the kid made it difficult, right? That's all I'm saying. So the Jets are for real, even though Zach Wilson sucks. So this is a very Trent Dilfer
game manager.
These Jets would be much better if they went back to Flacco. I don't know why Flacco's not the backup or not playing, but
Mike White is the backup. Do you remember?
They looked way better when Flacco was playing.
Do you remember
where did he go?
It was? Like, I don't know if y'all remember, like how good this dude was.
Mike White?
Yeah.
In his little stretch last year? Yeah. I mean, he was fantasy good. They didn't win, but he was fantasy good, though.
Yeah.
440.
Where's Joe Flacco? He didn't
on the bench. He started the year.
He's number 3 now?
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. All right.
But all Jets receivers were relevant in fantasy when Flacco was playing.
So
he's Elijah Moore.
Well, they just don't throw to him anymore. So because he's a bad for the locker room. All right. So Ian, here's your segue. So if the Bills would have beat the Jets, they would be 100% locked and loaded number 1 team in the NFL.
Disagree.
But because
Disagree.
Come on.
Disagree.
But because they're not, where do you go?
So am I first? Okay. So I have a couple of asterisks on my top 5. My number 1 team, Homer, whatever, is the Eagles.
Sure.
You know, you're 8-0. You have to be number 1. I hate the argument of Yeah, but they haven't beaten anybody. They beat the Vikings, who are 7-1. They beat Dallas, who is 6-2.
Yeah.
They've beaten who they need to beat
in the best division of football.
And as Bill Parcells has always said, you are what your record says.
Sure.
They are 8-0. They are the number 1 team in the league. Number 2 is the Chiefs. I think Patrick Mahomes is probably on his way to another MVP. He just seems. I just think he's locked and loaded. I love Kelsey. I love Juju. I love Nicole. I love Chris Jones. I like the Chiefs. My number 3 team
per us talking about.
Yeah, my number 3 team is actually the Dolphins.
I don't disagree.
I didn't pay him to say that.
Defense in a championship, defense will almost always beat an offense.
Hold on to that, man.
I mean, I believe that. But the Dolphins are just scary. They can just run with anybody right now, figuratively and literally. My number 4 team is the Bills, and I have an asterisk. My asterisk is
Josh Allen.
If Josh Allen doesn't need Tommy John surgery,
so
you can probably bump them up to 3. With it,
so can we pause there for a second? Can we pause there for a second? Because I want to talk about this real quick. I got an update earlier saying that Josh Allen was done for the year. And then I got to lunch, and then I see Josh Allen is day-to-day.
Day-to-day.
Which may be gamesmanship. I don't think he plays this week at a minimum. Actually, I hope, because I'm going against him in our other league of records. So I'm hopeful that he doesn't play this week. I don't think if he's out for the season, it's because he probably needs Tommy John, much like Bryce Harper will for the Phillies, and then neither of them will play next year because that's the year-long recovery. Mm-hmm. So that's why there's an asterisk. Before we get too deeply into
his injury is year-long?
Maybe.
Tommy John is I mean, to get that arm strength back, that's a solid year.
That's an ACL for the arm.
Yeah, you're taking a tendon out of your leg and putting it into your elbow so that you can move your elbow again. It's
You'd be riding up in Buffalo.
My number 5 is the Vikings with an asterisk. That asterisk says if they can play every single game at home. At home, they're awesome. On the road, they are not good.
Say the same thing.
And my honorable mention, as much as it pains me, is Dallas. Dallas scares me a little bit. I mean, Dallas is getting healthy. Dallas looks good.
Bro,
I don't think they're top 5, but I think they are honorable mention.
Okay, so as I'm gonna agree with Jeff on the shaking the head thing for a couple of reasons. Actually, one reason and one reason only is Jerry Jones. But
OBJ is going to Dallas.
Right. No, and that's what I was about to say. He may be going to Dallas. That is his best chance to win, although they are 2 games back in the division, which means they have to figure out how to hold on to a wild card spot. And and they have to beat the Giants out for that. They have to beat, they won't have to worry about the Packers. Actually, nobody else except for nobody else. So they actually probably are automatically.
Probably the 49ers. They have to hold off.
I don't know, man. The 49ers suck too, man. They're 4-4. So, you can't,
basically.
They're 2 games up on the 49ers, bro. Right?
Yeah.
I don't know. So, Ian, I think your list is pretty typical for most. So we really don't have to all go through unless you guys have some variations.
I have 2 variations that are going to make you guys think I'm nuts. But these are female. I love watching them. Female intuition. Other ones. You ready?
Yeah.
I love. Hold on. The Seahawks this year.
Okay.
That is that's the Cinderella. I love it. I love it watching. They've got a good situation going on in Seattle. I like it a lot.
Okay.
A wild card. And then after I realized it's Andy Dalton, but after watching that Monday night game, I forget the guy's name, but the new guy on the D, what's his name? Roquan Smith.
Roquan Smith.
That's lethal. And I think once Mark Andrews, if he's back this week or whatnot, that other tight end whose name I also can't remember. Yes, with Andrews, I know Rashad Bateman's out, but that kid and Lamar look good.
They have no
That's
wide receivers. They have no running backs.
What are you talking
That's
about?
tough. Who do they
Duvernay.
have?
I love Jeff Duvernay. I love him. I love him.
He's a
Duvernay.
really good special teams player.
He's a great flex.
I was going to give my list, but we kind of have the same teams.
Yeah, that's
but
what
in
I'm
the
saying.
midst of my list, though, you talked about OBJ to the Cowboys, but I put the Ravens at 5 with a star to possibly move them to 2 or 3. Why not OBJ to the Ravens?
That'd be cool.
That's been talked about.
I like that.
Yeah, it's been
That
talked about.
seems like the move to me. Not the history of Dallas tells me that they're going to fail regardless of who they put out there.
Right.
So,
The
Rams suck, so he's not going to go back there. He would probably go play with Green Bay if Green Bay didn't suck. That means he's got to go AFC.
Dude, because
He's not a Buffalo dude. He's already done the New York Giants thing. He's not going to Buffalo.
he would go to
Kansas City can't get him.
How do you do that when you're quarterback? How does Lamar do that without a contract? Does he just keep going and hope he never gets hurt?
No, they would have to franchise him, or he'd be free agent.
But like right now, like why is he like if he gets hurt between now and
he's fucked.
He's betting on himself, Lawrence.
He's fucked.
He's
betting on himself.
That's what we said last week. I wouldn't even showed up though.
All right, so I wanna add a couple of wild card teams in here that we haven't talked about yet. So one of them being the Chargers.
Me too, Vanna.
One of them being the Chargers, and only if they get Keenan Allen and Mike Williams back, I think, because they're 5-3 right now. I think they could be a real contender. They have a decent
and Joey Bosa back,
but it could be better for sure. But if they get their offense in check, I think their defense automatically becomes better because they're on the field so much. And then I'd like to throw Tennessee in there. So, and that's contingent on Ryan Tannehill coming back. And I know that's stupid. I know that sounds stupid, but he did the NFC Championship game last year, and Derrick Henry looks like Derrick Henry, right? And Treylon Burks is going to be coming back soon, and Robert Woods sucks ass, but they have Derrick Henry.
That's all that they have.
But they got Derrick Henry.
They have Derrick Henry, and if Ryan Tannehill comes back, he can be serviceable enough. That defense is good enough, guys. They're 5-3 right now. And they're ahead of that division by 2 games. Yes,
they should be 6-2. They shouldn't have lost to the Chiefs.
No, they shouldn't have. But their defense is good enough to where if Ryan Tannehill can be serviceable enough, Derrick Henry is him, right? Like we can all say that that's probably fact because he's that dude, right? Derrick Henry. Right.
You got to throw out for Kamish then also and say that
Saquon and the Giants. Yeah, no, but see, my problem lies in where I don't trust Daniel Jones. He has not proven to me anything.
That's a lot.
Right, but how can you disqualify the Giants because of Daniel Jones, but qualify the Titans with Ryan Tannehill?
Because they went to the AFC Championship game.
They were the number 1 seed last year.
Yeah, they went to the AFC Championship game, bro.
If Daniel Jones gets the NFC Championship game under his belt, then I'll ride with him.
Even though he went to Duke, I'd say, you know what, Daniel Jones
is a potential guy.
But until he does something. Now, I will make a confession, and I hope my Tar Heel fans out there don't think less of me. I have a 2 QB league, and I just spent the rest of my fab money, which is $33 on Daniel Jones, because for some reason he was a free agent. And my second quarterback, I have Russell Wilson and Joe Burrow and PJ Walker.
Start PJ.
I'm not, because last week he got me negative 0.164 points. I'm going to stay away from PJ.
Give him another chance.
And it's Thursday night. Don't do Thursday night.
Oh, no. No.
Don't do Thursday night.
Zero chance on the Thursday night, which, before we forget, in case we don't get to it at the end, any flex position players that you have on Thursday night, put them in your regular positions if you're going to start them. That's your PSA for the fantasy segment before we get to that. All right. So anybody have anything different as far as teams go that they wanted to talk about?
In the chat, Jeff, you have some comments, but I also wanted to throw out that you and my sister are almost birthday twins too. You're back to back. So happy birthday to both of you.
I did not see the chat.
Yeah.
I'm using my phone, so I don't see the chat.
Oh yeah, you got Lamar to the. I want Lamar to go to the Ravens. Big Jeff, visualize it.
Yeah, and Ferg would want that too.
I would rather him go to the Saints.
I think Tua's just fine.
I'll take Tua.
So I mean, he's done well. I was offered Tua for Russell Wilson earlier in the year, like week 1, and I didn't take it, and I should have. But who knows?
Yeah.
If Lamar goes to Miami, we're going to Super Bowl next year.
Yeah. So I wanna say this.
Mark that down.
You said in our group chat before the thing, and we have about 20 more minutes that I can spend here before I have to dip. We were talking about MVP, so let's talk about MVP a little bit. Ian already touched on it a little bit, and right now I don't see why Tyreek doesn't get it.
I was actually going to ask you, how many times the quarterbacks, like, do they ever not
all
get
the time.
Okay,
Like,
almost all the time.
A wide receiver has never won the MVP.
No. Did Calvin Johnson? Well, he played for the Lions.
He didn't win the MVP though. Even that year.
How about instead of MVP, who's the fantasy MVP? Because that's different.
That just depends on your team, though.
No, just in general, like
Joe Mixon.
Who is the fantasy MVP?
He's the running back 4, Lauren.
Tyreek.
After last
Tyreek
week,
has to be. Well, he's the
second wide receiver number 2, but he's consistent.
He's wide receiver 2.
He's wide receiver.
Diggs is pretty good for fantasy.
I think he's 2.
Yeah, no,
it would have to be. It's got to be either. It's got to be Tyreek, or I mean, I guess you just have to say Josh Allen just because.
So
I'm going Eckler. I'm going Eckler.
I get that, Ian, but let me ask you a question. If you were playing, if you were looking at your lineup right now, and you were looking at your matchup side of your lineup, okay, and if you looked over at the other team and you said, "Fuck, I have to play against
Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs."
Get it right. So mine at the moment would be, "Fuck, I know Tyreek's going to get 20 to 30." Period. Like nobody else. Like outside of quarterback.
You're welcome, Jeff.
Outside of quarterback.
I was just gonna say I do own a team like that is going to make people say
you do.
Fuck.
But he
anyway, you're welcome to pull up that lineup and take a look at it now. Wait till next week when Mixon's in that lineup. If you don't score 170 points, you're not going to be able to beat me each week. I'm just going to call it out now.
Well, you have to.
I am scared. I am scared of Josh Allen if I am running with somebody like Jacoby Brissett. But if I'm running with any kind of a serviceable to serviceable plus quarterback, even if Josh Allen gets 30, if I'm running with Dak Prescott, I know Dak's going to get me 20. So I'm not that scared of that 10-point, drop off. Wide receivers, there's enough wide receivers that somebody's going to go off. It's the running backs that tight ends, but fuck tight ends. I think it's the running backs that you've got it or you don't.
Yeah. And Chubb, like Vanna mentioned. Yeah. Chubb's that guy too.
Yeah.
So
Chubb is that guy too. Vanna, absolutely.
But I'm gonna sit here and tell you guys, like you see
but
Chubb
I don't see like Cooper Kupp
and you see Tyreek Hill against you in the lineup. Which one scares you more?
Chubb.
It's the Chubb because I already know that whatever the projected points it says there, he's going to go over that. So now I start looking for the other dudes on my side. It's like, well, who's going to match up with these 19 to 21 that he's going to get?
Running back is so scarce.
The reason why Chubb won't win it is Kareem Hunt.
Receivers.
Yeah, I agree.
If Kareem Hunt was hurt,
because of Hunt,
Chubb would probably turn into Derrick Henry.
They should have traded him.
Absolutely.
They should have.
They should have traded him.
They definitely should have traded him. Okay, so let's move this along a little bit.
Right.
Let's talk about the ass awards before we let Berg on his on his soapbox. So let's talk about the ass awards a little bit. So Lauren, you've already touched on it a little bit.
Yes.
So let's start with you, and then I'll take mine, and then we'll finish with Ferg and let him parlay into his conversation that he wants to have with himself.
I mean, I have A-Raj, but then I did also put on here the Colts.
Yeah.
Which will go to Jeff shortly. Okay.
Yeah. It'll go to Jeff shortly. And I'll agree with you for that because you know who, besides Joe Mixon, take Joe Mixon out of the fantasy conversation last week with his 153 yards rushing and 4 touchdowns, and I think 4 catches for 60 yards and a touchdown. So let's take that out.
Yeah, something.
60 million points that he scored. The highest scoring entity in fantasy football last week, besides Joe Mixon, was the New England defense.
Yeah.
9 sacks and a touchdown.
I actually put them in all the DFS.
Justin Fields had 45.
He did not have anywhere close to the New England defense. Ian. Like in every league.
Well, it depends on the league. We play in leagues that have tackle for lost points and stuff like that. There are some leagues where they didn't really score that many points, but if you're on
they scored
a decent defensive score.
One league they scored 56. One league they scored 49. So in both cases, in my perception,
No, it was 1 sack after. It was nonstop. Like they could have just like at some point like Mac Jones could have just like gone and got Chick-fil-A.
Yeah, for sure.
Just let the defense play.
Yeah, for sure. And that's pretty much what he did. Like
Yeah.
because it wasn't good, and that leads perfectly into my ass of the week, which is Deion Jackson. I picked him up to do
that was bad.
something, and he did 11 carries for 23 yards and 2 catches,
And then got hurt.
And then got hurt.
Yeah, and then got hurt and then came back. Like, so it's like this dude.
Terrible.
I mean, look, the last time he was counted on to be a replacement for Jonathan Taylor, he was
great.
fuck off, right? And so I was just hoping he was going to do the same. But I want to give a co-ass of the week award to Gerald Everett. And this is not a name that you would normally hear on the ass of the week award.
He had a great matchup.
And you don't have Mike Williams. Josh Palmer is your number 1. DeAndre Carter is your number 2. You are the primary number 1 receiver in that offense. And he dropped a 40-yard pass that would have been a touchdown for 65. And then that would have been great. Now, if you tell me, like in the era of tight ends, if you talked to me last year and said, hey, you're going to get 7 points out of your tight end, cool. I'm good with that. You tell me that this year with that situation, not cool with it. So he's going on my ass of the week. So Ian, what say you, bro?
I'll be quick so that Jeff can have his soapbox time. Jeff is probably not going to like mine because it affects his Dolphins. My ass of the week is the side judge in the Bears-Miami game in the last minute of the game. I am sorry, Chase Claypool was tackled at the 20-yard line before the ball got there. That is pass interference. That game should have been 35-35 going into overtime. That side judge was trash. He was ass. He should be disciplined. A terrible call. It is not often that we have an official as our ass of the week, but he is my ass.
Oh, I can get you some of those. Just let me.
Solid call. Good solid call from a veteran official.
I'm an ACC football fan. We can talk about that for hours, bro.
We can talk the Saints being robbed for hours.
If you want to, he should be an NFL official.
But there you go. That's mine.
All right, Ferg, what you got, bro?
Okay, so I had 2. Lauren touched on one, the Colts. We're going to get to the Colts here. But so where there is much given, we have to take away. So Philadelphia Eagles, you're 8-0. You're awesome. You're great. Everything's working up roses except for Devontae Smith. What the fuck? Why the fuck do you have a Heisman winner at wide receiver? You can't scheme him anything. I'm great. If you own A.J. Brown and he scored 3 touchdowns or 2 touchdowns, whatever, that's awesome. If you own Dallas Goedert, he is, top 2, top 3 tight end this year. Even Miles Sanders, who we trashed on here last year every week. He's top
RB7.
20. He's your RB, the top 10 RB this year?
Like 7. Top 10.
So you seem like some pretty smart guys in the room, Nick Sirianni. Get fucking Devontae Smith the fucking ball. I have seen a league where he's on the waiver wire. Oh, wow. It's getting to that point at this time of year.
I just traded him, Lauren.
Yes, you did.
Now, that leads us to number 2, the entire Indianapolis Colts organization. I don't know
I'm ready.
who to give the most blame to. I don't know if it's the other, excuse my French, the other 30-some odd NFL owners who do not look like me. I do not know if it is the fans. I don't know if Jim Irsay is still on pills. I do not fucking know. All I know is these are the names. These are identified names that I can 100% verify are currently coaching for the Indianapolis Colts. That means they've been there every single day. They've been to training camp. They're in the locker room. They're on the planes. They're coaching their guys up every day. Now, Gus Bradley, say what you want. Jacksonville was competitive. They were decent. He's on the staff. John Fox. John Fox has been to a fucking Super Bowl. A fucking Super Bowl. You have a Super Bowl coach on your staff. He's not your new coach. So then we'll go to, should be, and I could be wrong, is he in the Hall of Fame? Or should be? Is Kevin Mawae in the Hall of Fame?
I think so. No,
He's
will.
a player. Kevin Mawae Hall of Famer? If not, he has the same credentials of the asshole you gave, if not better. Because I haven't heard any Hall of Fame discussion for Saturday as of yet.
Can I have a timeout real quick on this? Because I agree with you on everything except for this. Jeff Saturday was the center for the Super Bowl winning team.
We'll get to that. We'll get to that.
Hold on.
Since you're pulling it up, since you want to pull up his accolades versus Mawae, since they both play on the line, and we'll go from there. But
he also played with Peyton Manning.
Okay, so everything is invalid when you play for Peyton. Everybody's good when you play for Peyton.
All I'm saying, he had years of hearing.
He's a Tar Heel. We already know you love him. He's a Tar Heel. We'll just discount that. But Jim Irsay's point, of all the points that he gave, was, I'm glad that the guy has no experience.
Right.
I need a fresh face. He's a Colts legend.
It's not.
He played in the Super Bowl. That just leads me back to the final coach on this staff, the final name brand coach that we know of, that fits all the same Jeff Saturday boxes except for one. I'll let you guess which one it is that he does not fit. And that would be Mr. Reggie Wayne, who is a current active coach on this staff.
I didn't know that. I love him.
Colts legend. Boom.
Yeah.
I would say way more important than Jeff Saturday in the history of the Colts. Boom. Played with Aaron Payton. Boom. He's an active coach. Boom. Has coached somewhere else other than high school football. And if you're on TV 4 days a week, you're not the fucking high school football coach anyway. Somebody else's daddy is coaching them kids. You just show up on Friday night because your kid is probably the third string punter. But that's neither here nor there.
I want to add something. So,
oh God, we're not giving Jeff Saturday no more love.
No, hold on. No, I'm going to give Jeff Saturday, not Jeff Saturday in general, at the center position. So I have a lot of friends that are former football players, NFL, college, CFL, whatever. They all have said, if there's one dude that could be a coach, not saying Jeff Saturday in general, it would be the center position, just because they know everything on the field, they know all the calls, they know all the things, and they get to talk to the quarterback every day. You know what my rebuttal to that would be? When you go to your child's school, who's the most important person in school? Who leads the school? I get it.
Who would that be? The principal? Would that be the principal? You also know who knows everywhere else and how to get around everywhere else and how to do everything else in school? The fucking janitor. So that's what that means. That's what that means to me about a damn center, or even a dude in general, even that they used to play.
Touche.
No, I think Reggie Wayne was there. Reggie Wayne would be a good coach. Yeah. I like
what the Colts have done.
Surprised Peyton on the level that Jeff Saturday did.
I said this in our group chat earlier. There have been owners in fantasy leagues that have been kicked out of fantasy leagues for tanking not as badly as what the Colts are doing. The Colts are clearly saying, we want Bryce Young, period, end of story, we don't even care. I mean, that's what it is. And it is a disgrace to the National Football League. It's a disgrace what they're doing. It has nothing to do with Jeff Saturday's quality. Jeff Saturday picked up the phone, went into an interview with Jim Irsay, and his question to Jim Irsay was, why am I being considered?
Why am I here?
Why are you talking to me about? I work for ESPN.
This is not a white or black coach thing, as they have run it on a lot of channels. It's not even a white-black coach. It's just a simple respect. You have 85 years worth of coaching on the staff already.
Yeah.
And you're trying to tell me a dude that just was on TV talking about college football players half the time is fit to lead these men.
So let me tell you something funny that I heard. I was listening to my favorite fantasy football podcast, and they said that there was 2 quotes that stuck in their heads from Irsay's press conferences. He doesn't know how sausage is made, but he does know how to run an NFL organization. And then the second one was, it's just football. It's not building a rocket. So what Irsay is essentially saying is that coaching a football team is somewhere between making sausage and building a rocket.
Somewhere. That does sound about right.
It's true.
And that's true.
What is an asinine thing to say?
I really like the Reggie Wayne thing. I can't get over that. That would have been awesome.
Yeah. All right.
That's
so,
disrespectful.
But you know what? Here's the problem with Reggie Wayne is if they had hired Reggie Wayne as an interim coach, he would be in the same exact position that Jeff Saturday is in, simply because he's there for the next 9 games and then he's done. He's a placeholder.
But he's on the staff. He's a coach.
I get it.
If you told, it don't even have to be an Indianapolis coach. If you said, hey, we're going to call up shitty ass Matt Rule and bring him in for the last 9 games, because at least he's familiar with travel itinerary, how to do post-game press conferences, where the meeting room is, how to at least run a basic franchise.
But Jeff, my point is in benefit of Reggie Wayne is I wouldn't want Reggie Wayne to get that job because that would be an insult. Reggie Wayne is going to be a qualified, good head coach when his time comes. To throw him in right now, he's going to go 0-8. He's not going to get another job.
I don't want to go down the color line with this, but if you are a black male coach in the NFL, if you get a chance to be a head coach, whether it is for 70 years or 7 minutes, you have to take that job. You have to take that job for the next 55 black guys that are assistant linebacker coaches that have played in the league or have coached at Bama, Ohio State, Notre Dame, Clemson, and still can't get a job, a head coaching job anywhere. You have to take it. Reggie Wayne, for the simple, he has to wear the weight of all black coaches in America on his shoulder, just like the way David Culley had to goddamn take that shitty-ass Texan job because he knew he would never get another fucking job in life, just like the way they have to trot Lovey out. Lovey knows he is the NFL token coach that we have to call. When people say there aren't enough black coaches, call up Lovey, put him on a team. He's going to tank. We're going to draft high. He's not going to be there. It's been a long fucking time since Lovey was any goddamn good. And that's even in college. He hasn't even been any goddamn
Todd
good.
Bowles is
but he's unassuming. Todd Bowles had his moment.
Yeah.
I'm glad Bruce Arians fell on the sword for him to get him another job. But if you were the owner of the Bucs and you see the job that they're doing, you'll be just like 99% of America. You'll be like, that's Brady. That has nothing to do with Bowles. Yeah. So, like most of us in our friend groups, we get people that look like us that we're comfortable with around us. So there are no people that look like us circling in these corners with Daniel Snyder, with the Jim Irsays and them. They're always going to be. He even said it. The guy's his beer drinking buddy. So he just hired his buddy. So I can say, it's like if I hit the Powerball, I say, hey, Ian, I know we don't know shit about doing this, but let's build us a goddamn rocket and go to the goddamn moon, because I got $950 fucking million, and we could just do some dumbass shit in our backyard like that.
I wanna make a point real quick before we move to our Thursday night game, because I got to dip in a second. I just heard something that Jeff Saturday has played, will play in the future fantasy football, and on his fantasy team this year is Devontae Adams, and it just so happens that the Colts and the Raiders are playing this week. So let's talk about this next week and see how many yards Devontae has coming up for him.
Raiders are trash.
So how bad does Jeff Saturday want to win his fantasy football matchup this week is what we're going to be talking about next week. So let's talk about this Thursday night game real quick before I have to go.
It's a pile of flaming
dog shit.
Yeah.
Panthers Falcons. So this is another
12-7.
typical Thursday night game. Now let's say the over under is 42.5. The Falcons are favored by 2.5, so that's 22.5 to 20. So let's take 23-21, whatever it may be, 23 to 20. Like, I just want to say something that I think that when Cordero Patterson came back, it made a huge difference. So, and I don't know if you guys saw that run that for his second touchdown, but he may have ended like Vince Carter did in the Olympics. He may have ended my man number 49's career when he put his head into his chest and walked into the end zone.
Why is that not a foul on the offense? I always wondered that. But
look, this dude is stronger and bigger than any running back in the NFL, and I for one, a very big fan of him. Even though I'm not a Falcons guy necessarily, but it's like
now,
22.5 to 20 is what we're talking about here, guys. So this is another classic Thursday night matchup. So what do you guys think?
I only thought, I did say in our chat earlier that I thought this game was going to be shit, but my only thought that I could try to wrap them, say that maybe there's something to this game, is one of the few NFL games on a Thursday where you don't have a team having to fly way across the country to be somewhere that they don't really want to be.
That's division.
You can get to Atlanta in what on a plane? An hour from Charlotte?
An hour from here.
I mean, if they went old school and took a bus, they'd be here in 3.5 hours. The reason I'm saying you don't have to spend the night. I'm sure most NFL teams do that just out of protocol. You could have left Atlanta this morning, slept in your bed, flew to Charlotte tomorrow, play, and be back in Atlanta that night. I only think that might just have a little bit to do with the mindset of,
maybe.
Okay, it's not Atlanta got to go to San Diego. I mean, San Diego, LA. We don't got to go to Oakland. We just got to go down 85 and play these guys that we just played a week ago.
I hope that they give us a shootout. That would be fun to watch. It would be the PJ Walker show for 363-3 when I don't start him, right? So that would be what happens, and that's fine. And I wish for PJ Walker's success because I actually like the dude. I think he's an electric quarterback if he ever got a chance and had the coaching to have the discipline to play a major quarterback position. You know what I mean? Like if he could be a Lamar, he can be a Lamar. He's that athletic, but he's got a better arm than Lamar, if you ask me.
17-6. That's the game.
Oh, it's gonna be bad. Like
17-6 who? Falcons or Panthers?
I'm gonna say the Panthers. Just because I'm going against the Falcons defense in a bunch of leagues, and I just want the Falcons defense to do bad. I don't really care. Both of these teams suck.
17 Falcons.
This is one of those games that I could care less either way.
Yeah.
7-6 Falcons.
3.
Is that a missed extra point or 2 field goals?
7-6 Falcons.
3-2 Falcons.
7-6. Although, for the sake of having something to do on Friday after we leave the Black Panther funeral Friday morning, just to have something to do, I would like to see if Baker would just show up one time on a national stage just to give Skip something to fuck with damn Shannon about for the next, what that would be, 10 days before the Panthers would have to play again.
Look.
Yeah.
Hey, man,
you
look.
saw that arm, but you see that, Shannon. Look at that pass. It'll be like 6 for 21. But it'll have like 2 touchdowns, though.
I'm going to need you to turn on your TV to the ESPN app on Friday night and watch Carolina play College of Charleston. And
Why?
Just relax, bro. And just relax, man. So I'm gonna take a line from Kiasha that she told me when we played UNC Wilmington the other day. And she was like, that was ugly, but I'm going to not worry about this team until I have to. Because if you look at it, you ain't got to. So, like, that
make it worse when you watch.
Sit back and relax and enjoy us beating College of Charleston, bro.
College of Charleston.
Hey, it's early basketball season, bro.
You don't watch Carolina basketball this early. You'll get sucked in.
If the world
get sucked into believing that they're good when they're not good.
If Ian's boys would have held on for a couple of more days, it could have been NCAA basketball, NFL football, and Major League Baseball, and it would have been the happiest time of the year for me. But
sorry,
Ian didn't handle that business. So
I'll try harder next time.
thanks, Ian.
Max said, "Fuck that."
Max is Mac.
This
Max
motherfucker
is Mac.
a lot of monies, bro. A lot of monies. So anyway, all right. So anybody have anything else they want to talk about before we hit the road? Because I got to dip.
No, I'm good. I think we
Okay.
covered it.
All right. So until next week, Clintonian, Lauren, Ian the Champ, Big Jeff, Mr. Ferg. We'll see you guys next week. Same bat time, same bat channel.